our lovely viewers, and we are so glad that you have joined us on this fine morning, sunny morning. And what I absolutely love is how Pakistanis are making waves across the globe, and it is always heartwarming to see people shine and shine Pakistan's name along with them, which is why we are going to dive into the news of how the Pakistan renowned martial artist Irfan Masood breaks Norway's Guinness World Record. He broke Norway's world record of the 32 push-ups by doing 35 toe push-ups with an 80-pound weight. Irfan Masood made history by becoming the first Pakistani to set an impressive total
of 150 Guinness World Records in just 9 years. Irfan Masood has also set the most world records in the push-up category with a total of 70 records. Masood has established 40 world records while lifting 100 pounds and holds the most records in various weight categories, including 100 pounds, 80 pounds, 60 pounds and 40 pounds. His record-breaking feats include martial push-ups, squats, jumping jacks, set-ups, step-ups, knee strikes, elbow strikes, side jumps, high jumps, and star jumps. I don't know. Isha, can you do that? Can you do push-ups?
I cannot. I can barely do 2-3, but I need to build up. Okay, I'll practice and I'll go to gym now.
Okay, yeah. I think everybody needs to go to the gym, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly the message that I would want to come across as well. Well, not just that. There's another news that I would want to share over here, and that is that, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that I think first I'm going to kind of bring up the Guinness World Record that Pakistan made and then kind of move on towards this one as well. Now imagine, I think for everybody who's out there, Pakistanis are proud because of the fact that the Pakistani community in Dubai has earned a place in the Guinness Book of World Records by creating the world's largest handprint UAE flag. The event was organized by the Pakistan Association Dubai and participated by people from over 100 nationalities. The flag was created using 24,514 human handprints. Wow. A Guinness World Records representative confirmed the achievement in the presence of Pakistan's ambassador to the UAE, Faisal Niaz Tirmizi, and Consul General Hussain Mohammed. So congratulations to all of those Pakistani people who were out there, to the Pakistani Dubai Association for making sure that you bring good name to Pakistan. And in addition to this, Isha, do you know that I've been a part of one of the Guinness World Records that we broke over here in Islamabad?
What? I did not know that. You have to tell me about it.
Exactly. So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, so what we did was, and I would want to kind of mention names over here, in collaboration with Jazz and Active Media, we did the largest drive-in cinema record and we broke it. So the record was somewhere around 10,000 or 11,000 cars. We brought in 16,000 cars to watch the movie.
Wow.
And it was the greatest feeling ever as well, where you're making Pakistan proud and representing them on the international platform. And guess when we did that?
When?
We did that when it was COVID time. You
Oh
know,
my
because
God.
nobody could go to the cinema. So we thought, hey, you know what? Let's bring in the cars. People could sit in their cars, turn on their radios, and they could listen to the frequency, match the frequency, and then listen to the audio of the movie as well.
How fascinating. And the fact that you were able to bring such a massive audience and complete a Guinness World Record.
I think thanks to all of those people who actually came out. But very quickly, one last news which I'm going to share for today as well, where today, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers, which is being observed today. The day aims to pay tribute to the uniformed and civilians personnel's invaluable contribution to the work of the organization and honor more than 3,800 peacekeepers who have lost their lives serving under the United Nations flag since 1948. This year's theme of the day is the future of peacekeeping. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says now more than ever the world needs the United Nations, and the United Nations need peacekeeping that is fully equipped for today's realities and tomorrow's challenges. Another best part over here is that the United Nations will actually honor 2 Pakistanis posthumously at a ceremony at its headquarters today. The 2 Pakistanis are Sepoy Muhammad Tariq and Havaldar Ehsanullah, who served with United Nations Interim Security Forces for ABI. Wow, I think that's great. It's a great day to be alive in Pakistan and to be a Pakistani. Wow, mashallah.
We have been seeing waves of how we are shining, and it's beautiful.
Exactly, which is why I think now I would want to bring your attention to a problem which obviously is just like a juggler win for Pakistan, and God forbid, if it continues to be like this, there will be problems, because India, we have seen, unfortunately, have been weaponizing water, and we will never allow that. We have heard what the defense minister said, that if they will build infrastructure around Indus water where they're not allowed to do so, we will strike back and we will make sure that it was it is a war of act. I think for everybody who's out there, we really need to kind of delve into the historical perspective of the Indus Water Treaty, which is why for over 6 decades, India and Pakistan have cooperatively managed the waters of the Indus river system, a vital resource for both nations. Despite enduring conflicts, the Indus Water Treaty of 1960 has remained a cornerstone of the bilateral relations, facilitating shared access to water resources. However, the recent developments have strained the long-standing agreement in the wake of deadly attack in Pahalgam. We all know about it, what happened, how Pakistan emerged victorious. But India announced the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty. India's Ministry of External Affairs Secretary Vikram Misri actually stated that the Indus Water Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance. Now, I think what we need to do is we need to bring the international audiences to, or probably to their attention that, hey, you know what, this is not fair, this cannot go on. We need to talk about how China is at an upper riparian, then there's India, and then there's Pakistan. So what will happen if, God forbid, Indus Water Treaty will stand in abeyance is something that I would want to bring the international audience's attention to. So first of all, I'm very lucky that I've been joined by somebody who happens to be a businessman. He's Mr. IQBAL. LATIF is with us. Hello Iqbal Sahab, Assalamu Alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Good morning in Islamabad, and you all have been talking about beautiful weather of Islamabad. Here I am on the golf course, and it's beautiful, very nice.
Thank you so much, Iqbal Sahab. Islamabad has always been like this. Islamabad has been really kind as well. And just
I'm in Lahore, by the way. I'm in Lahore. I'm in Lahore.
Wonderful. Just recently, I was in Karachi. It was too hot. It felt like it was 36 degrees centigrade, but it felt like 40 degrees. And if you are in Lahore, somewhat you're closer to Islamabad. But sir, let's get to the point. Indus Water Treaty stands in abeyance. Their external Ministry of Foreign Affairs have actually spoken about it as well. How do you see, what is the impact? Before we talk about all of this, let's go into or dive into the historical perspective from because it was signed in 1960. We had a 1965 war, then there was 1971 war. Then there was Kargil. But we still thought that, hey, you know what, there is hope because of the fact that the Indus Water Treaty was still in action.
Yes, and this is my one-man frontal assault on this abeyance of the treaty. And I am totally surprised that I've come to Pakistan, that people are talking about still very menial matters. They don't even seem to understand what are the consequences of this abeyance and abrogation of IWT 1960. I have been involved in hydrology, and I'm a civil engineer by profession. I've built infrastructures and multi-structures all over the world. So for me, this is about existential battle of Pakistan. And I'm really surprised that no one is really talking much about it. Thank you for introducing, because I had sent my initial work to you, and I've made a letter to the president of the World Bank, Mr. Banga, and I have been writing to the International Arbitration Panel, taking a one-man thing. I don't know why everybody else is not talking about it. I tell you honestly, this is something which is totally existential for Pakistan. Let me tell you the background of it, and I hope you'll have the patience to listen to it. That water wars is the reason why this treaty was carried out. And whatever water structures you see in Pakistan, I was born on the bank of Indus. I was born in Sakhar. And as I was born, I used to walk across in winters to Sadhu Bela. And Indus used to get dried completely. And there was no Tarbela then, there was no Mangla Dam there. The reason is Indus flow is perennial flow. It is not 80% of Indus water, 70% of Indus water comes in the months during the melt, in the summer months. And when it comes to the winter, only little water flows into it, unlike like Rhine, Euphrates, and Nile, which are 24/7 rivers. These are, Indus is a river which you need storages. So going back to that, in 1947, when the country was divided, the region was divided with Pakistan and India, whatever circumstances were, we decided, okay, good enough. We have to also divide the water resources. And as such, there are 5 rivers. They come, 3 of them, Satluj, Ravi, and Beas. They originate from Indian Kashmir. And then there's Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. and all of these, they come from the glaciers coming out. And I call mountain, Himalayas, the mountain of life. For example, if you see China and India, what is the reason that China and India are the world's largest population? The reason is the Himalayan mountains. And then I will not go into the details of what causes this water and why the rivers are so good and why the rivers become the lifeline of our existence. So these 5 rivers that we call, of course, there are 6. Beas is kind of a smaller river. So in 1947, what happened that Hadway, Nehru used to always say that, and Atal Bihar and the other guy with him, that this Pakistan will not exist more than 2-3 years. They will come back. So basically what they did, they closed the headworks and stopped the water flow. So in 1951, World Bank, Eugene McCarthy was the name of the man, if I can correct it. I remember it correctly because I've been following this thesis all along. And he decided that this is going to be a disaster. Water wars are going to be an incredibly difficult proposition for the entire South Asia. South Asians live on wheat, rice, stable food, and that's the reason. So they decided that the World Bank decided that we have to have some negotiations with India and Pakistan that let them distribute their water resources like we had distributed our assets. And basically, that was the reason of this water treaty that culminated in 1960. Unfortunately, it's a very sad thing. You people keep talking about.
Balsab, I truly get it, and the importance of Indus Water Treaty and how if it's going to stand in abeyance, it's going to be so difficult for the entire ecosystem that we have built around Indus River. But sir, in addition to this, I would want to ask you a couple of more questions, and that is that. First of all, because you've mentioned over here how the 3 eastern rivers, Ravi, Sutlej, Beas, were assigned to India, and Pakistan were assigned the control over the 3 western rivers, Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. Now, before heading towards the, where how, Pakistan really needs to bring it back, and I would want to discuss your letter, addressed to the Permanent Court of Arbitration and relevant global bodies. I would want to ask you, do you think that, that for India to kind of build infrastructure around it, do you think that it's a violation of the Indus Water Treaty? Because at the heart of ongoing dispute between India and Pakistan lie the design features of 2 Indian hydroelectric power projects, the Kishan Ganga and 330 megawatt plant inaugurated in 2018, and the Ratle, if my pronunciation is correct, 850 megawatts. Do you think such hydropower projects could have been built around, Indus River? Do you think that it is the violation of Indus Water Treaty?
See, this is such a disconnected question to what I was explaining. Either ask me to give you a quick background. It's only 3 minutes I've talked. You put a question which will come later in the talk. I think, allow me to finish how this treaty came into existence first. This is such an important treaty to be talked about. Once we agree how treaty came, how it was signed by Field Marshal Muhammad Ayub Khan and Jawaharlal Nehru in 1960 in Karachi. And the background is very important. These are all run on the river kind of dams. These have no consequences. Neither Salal Dam, nor Baligarh Dam, nor the Kishan Ganga. None of these dams are storage dams, unlike Tarbela and Mangla. You got to understand what are the consequences of this treaty, why we have built these dams, what is the difference between a run of the river dam, and what are the infrastructure. Let me come back to it. These are not simple questions that I can answer straight away, but fact of the matter is none of the dams at the moment in India are run on the river dams in the sense that they are not storage dams, unlike Tarbela and Mangla, which are 22 million acre-feet water that we can store. And let me give you the logic behind it. The logic I told you that it's a perennial flow of Indus causes the problem. So in 1960, when the treaty was signed, consortium countries came across, the entire world came across, and India was asked, and Pakistan was told that, come on, sit down and talk and sign a treaty with your sovereign nation across on the north. And they signed a treaty. Based on that treaty, it was decided that Pakistan will give up Ravi, Sutlej, and Beas, and Punjab gave that sacrifice because all these rivers came through. Therefore, old Ravi, you see, it's all dry because everything was given to India. In return, we got Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus. And basically, Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus, the problem is that it's all lies that they can stop the water. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Prime Minister Modi has no idea what he's talking about. Indus, 98% comes after Kargil. Nobody's talking about it. It's a stream, a small stream before Kargil. After Pakistanis don't have to worry about it. What we have to worry about is the rogue behavior of Indian government and Prime Minister Modi to make fun. Ek katra Pakistan ka pani mein nahi jane dunga. That is what is wrong. That is what we have to highlight. That is what we have to sell to the world that, listen, this is a rogue status. This is existential battle.
Sir,
You are
that's exactly why
denying
we
the
have
life
you
of
with us today
240
as
million
well.
people.
Very sorry that I have to interject over here, but I think you only have last 7 minutes, which is why I would want to get to the crux of it. Hence, I mentioned, where you actually re-quoted again where how the Western rivers Indus and Jhelum. But sir, now the world knows what the issue is, what the problem is, how the BJP's government is actually weaponizing water. We are aware of these facts. Thank you so much for sharing the historical background as well. But what we really need to know now is, how do you think that that the treaty which stands in abeyance as of now will go back to revert to its original sense and meaning? And how do you think, or what do
It will
you
not
think
go. It will
the
not go.
Pakistani government
It's
needs
not.
to do, or the
Listen,
individuals of
listen.
Pakistan need to do, or the international community need to do?
Not go. It will not go back in abeyance. It cannot be put in abeyance. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. That 98% of the Indus water comes after Kargil. You're asking me something which you are not getting the answer right. What I'm trying to tell you, don't you understand that 145 million acre feet of water flows through Indus basin, and that 98% of it is added by the 4 highest peaks which are located in Pakistan and 4 largest glaciers outside the North Pole and South Pole. And that is the reason we are lucky. This whole is lies he's selling to the world. And also Chenab and Jhelum, 78% of Chenab and 80% of Jhelum come after in Pakistani territory. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The gravity cannot be denied by treaties. But the fact, what I'm trying to highlight, sir, is that basically this whole idea that I was flowing above from K2 to Pasni recently, 3 weeks ago, coming back from Tokyo, and I charted the course of the entire Indus. We are lucky that that is not the cause. No one can deny water to Pakistan. What we have to highlight is that basically this Indus Basin Treaty ensures that there's an equitable distribution. What is happening now is basically a gross violation, a flagrant violation of treaty by India taking over the entire water of Ravi, Satluj, and Beas. It's like this, that I and you agree to sell our houses, and I take your house, and I have to give you back your house, and I refuse to give you back your house. So they are taking all the water now, Ravi, Satluj, Beas. It's a theft. It's a brazen theft. And they are denying. What they can only do is they close the door of Salal Dam and Baligarh Dam. They close it,
You have
they
very
show it, they close the doors and they show to the world, oh, listen, we have stopped the water. This is a selling to their own indigenous that, okay, we are punishing Pakistan. But the fact of the matter is, Baligarh Dam and Salal Dam has no more capacity than 1.2 million acre feet. That is less than 1% of the total flow of Chenab. And so I have no problems with that. They will not be able to stop it. What they can do is, and Chenab cannot be stopped. You have to run through a tunnel 100 kilometers through the mountains. That will cost $20 billion. That is not the kind of thing they can do. But fact of
That's the kind of conversation which is happening as of now. The kind of conversation which is happening as of now is where you've mentioned about $20 billion. For them to build this infrastructure, they will need other parties to come in. They will particularly need aid too as well, and it will take them time. But my question stands over here is that if they are able to build this infrastructure in days to come and in times to come, how do you think that Pakistan actually come back to where you have obviously mentioned कि यार इसका पानी का तो मसला नहीं होगा because वो इतना अभी नहीं कंट्रोल कर सकते वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बना लेते हैं फिर क्या होगा?
The point is that Pakistan does not have an immediate problem. Anytime they close Lal and Baligarh Dam, they have to open the doors because it's run on the river dams. These are not storage dams. I'm trying to explain you. There's no problem. The infrastructure, hydro infrastructures in a seismic zone in the north, it takes years of design. Like Basha took nearly 19 years. But so basically, there is no infrastructure going to be built. Yes, what we are trying to tell you is that this treaty is going to stay in de facto, in de jure, because it cannot be stopped. The water cannot be stopped. What we need to highlight the fact is that we don't have to worry about it. What we are going to see is that very soon we have to project to the world that by putting a treaty into abeyance, you are emerging as a rogue country. That's what we are trying to say. Basically, as far as Pakistan is concerned, I'm not worried about the amount of 145 million acre of water, 30 million acre coming through Chenab and Jhelum. I expect a 5 million acre feet that they can stop and play around with. But in the high monsoon season, we will, but the emphasis, my emphasis
They
is,
cannot stop water. I truly get the point, and thank you so much, Iqbal Sahab, for being with us, and thank you so much, for sharing your thoughts on it, the historical background as well, and eventually agreeing to what I was trying to say as well, that how the treaty needs to come back to where it was originally.
He very passionately shared all the relevant and all the relevant facts that need to be highlighted across the globe in terms of water security for us, and we need more people like him. And moving on, we actually have some exceptional news to share with you. That is that a 55-year-old Nepal Shepra known as the Everest Man has broken his own world record for scaling the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest, for the 31st time.
31st time?
Yeah, the son of the Shepherd's guide first climbed the Everest in 1994 and has made it to the summit nearly every year since, other than during years when authorities closed the mountain to climbers. His closest competitor is fellow Nepali Shepra, who has scaled the Everest 29 times. Wow, how amazing to see people reach new heights.
I like it how you always have to kind of say amazing. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is one thing that I'm going to share with each and every one of you. When Allah calls you, nobody can actually stop you. And that's exactly where it has set the tone as well, where how, ladies and gentlemen, in a remarkable story of faith and perseverance, a young Libyan pilgrim named Amir al-Mahdi Mansour al-Qaddafi faced unexpected obstacles on his journey to perform Hajj, the sacred fifth pillar of Islam, due to his surname, which remained flagged in security system long after Libya's civil unrest. He was initially held back at immigration while his fellow pilgrims boarded the plane without him. Undeterred, Amr vowed not to leave the airport until he could embark on his spiritual journey, trusting in divine will. In what many describe as a divine intervention, the plane encountered two technical faults mid-air, forcing emergency landings both times. After the second incident, the captain refused to continue the flight unless Amir was on board, prompting authorities to clear him for travel. On the third attempt with Amir on board, the plane took off without issue. Amir's steadfast faith shines as a testament to the belief that when something is meant to be, no obstacle can stand in its way. Wow, subhanallah. And when I came across this story, I was like, yeah, miracles really do happen. And that's exactly what we have seen.
And when Allah has written something for you, no power in the world can stop it from reaching you.
Exactly. So, आपके ख्याल में आपके लिए क्या लिखा हुआ है अभी?
मेरे घर में
आपके ख्याल में आपके लिए क्या लिखा
हुआ? मेरे लिए Allah is the best of planners, and I trust Him with my path, and He has led me to this platform, and inshallah He
जो
will
अल्लाह ने
be
आपके लिए लिखा है वो मेरे ख्याल आप तक पहुंच गया माशाल्लाह.
माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह.
Well, that's great as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's a light banter that we continue to kind of do and make sure that that you guys enjoy it. It's great and it's fun as well. But what is not fun is eating too much. That's something which is not fun. So imagine, because it's going to be Bakra Eid just soon. And so last year, I still remember that I was on the show and there were almost 330 people who were rushed to hospital emergencies because they couldn't control their mouths. So what are we supposed to do? Because it's Bakra Eid. We love eating mutton. We love eating beef. We love barbecues. We love tikkas. We love so much food that unfortunately people have to go to the hospital for all the wrong reasons. So to kind of discuss that, how we can control or what we can do, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined in the studios with us. Somebody who's actually one of the greatest that I've met ever as a consultant nutritionist. She is Dr. NOSHEEN TAQVI. Hello, madam. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, and I feel great whenever I'm on this platform.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Your energy is like contagious.
Yeah, I'm trying. Thank you so much for saying that as well. But let's get started, madam. It's going to be Bakra Eid season.
So the first thing is the extreme of temperatures are there. We it's unpredictable. It's 42 one day and it's 32 the next day, right?
And 26 at night.
Yes, yes. So what we need to do, we need to, सबसे पहली चीज़, we need to see what we are eating and how we are eating. The most important thing is we have to keep ourselves hydrated.
Yes.
Since we'll be busy in the Qurbani and everything, maintaining the meat and preserving it, everything. So what you need to do first, that please go low on spices. First thing, use a lot of yogurt. for marination, for the raita, the lassi, anything, any kind of yogurt you can have. And then other than that, what you can do is well.
Marinate your meat well.
That you can do well, yeah, of course. Uske bagair to kaam nahi chalega, but still, what I believe is that eat slow and you can enjoy all the days, right? Rather than eating on the first day and then falling sick and rushing to the emergencies, I believe that you can have smaller portions and enjoy all the days of Eid.
Okay, can I stop you right there and ask that the theory of portion control seems very likely to happen when it's in our mind and when we're talking about it. When we are invited to lots of lavish dawats with a lot of lavish meat in front of us, how can we actually apply the theory of portion control there?
So basically, I know it's difficult to control your portions, but at that point, I say that add more things to your plate. Like you can have more of salads, more of greens, cucumbers, tomatoes, anything which has water-rich content. So the cucumbers are the ones, lettuce, the iceberg, and then yogurt I've already mentioned, and we use yogurt in all different forms. So have meat, have all kinds of sorts of meat, but do have a portion of salads and yogurt. It is going to actually help you out to digest also. And again, I'm saying you need to enjoy all 3 days of your
I think that's wonderful. But I've got one of the most amazing excuses, and that is that it's eat as much as you can.
And fall sick.
that is the
Do you
mentality
think
that
that
leads
strategy is
people
fine?
to the
But because it's summers, so I do know for a fact that how people really need to be careful about food, because unfortunately we do not know whether somebody forgot to put it in their fridge.
Absolutely.
And now there's this new trend of how people put these cling sheets on top of their cutlery wherever they're storing food, and as soon as it comes out, it feels like as if it's been cooked just now. But in summers, it's really essential that the food is actually freshly cooked. How important do you think it is?
So basically, you need to drain the blood, right? What we do is just the moment it starts coming to your kitchen, you start packing it up. What I say, let it wash it, let it dry under the fan, then start making the portions. Because when you don't drain the blood properly, you pack it up, then you don't know what kind of bacteria are there in the blood, right? That can be problematic as well. So for that, I believe that you need to go slow and wash the meat. Dry it under the fan or under anything, and then pack it.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I think I'm going to give away a totka just now as well, because this totka I learned almost 5 or 6 years ago, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. So imagine how every time, on Bakra Eid in particular, but not on regular days, we do know how, there's this tingy smell which actually comes from your mutton or beef.
Absolutely.
And for people, and for the longest period of time, I've always struggled to actually eat the sacrificial animals' meat because of the fact that it was too smelly. And everybody else felt like normal. So I actually kind of discussed it with somebody, and he said what you're supposed to do is that when you deskin, your animal, make sure that let it hang over there, wash it with water, and then let it dry under a fan, and the smell will go. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you do that, and you will certainly thank me. But let it be there, but not as long as bakra bichara kharab ho jaye ya gosht kharab ho jaye. But now coming back to how do you think, because we generally even we have rich in protein diets. So how do you think that we really need to maintain balance and make sure that we are having things or consuming things which are nutritionally rich?
So basically, see, you know yourself better. You know what your body is asking for. You know what your symptoms are, right? So I personally believe if you can actually skip one, mera to khayal hai, what you do is like you skip the part of meat and one of the meals, right? So what we do, we have kaleji in the morning, then we have beef or mutton in the afternoon, then we have the barbecue. Champe, yes. I was coming to that. Then we have champe and the barbecue in the evening.
Pie.
The next morning, nihari the next morning. So I believe that if you're not going to, if you're not,
now he's making our mouth water.
I think I'm at the wrong place right now.
Please go ahead.
So, but I think portion control comes in from you, right? I can't tell Shehzad stop eating until Shehzad realizes, no, if I'm doing this, this is going to be problematic for me.
So it requires a lot of self-reflection as
absolutely,
well.
absolutely.
Another
I'm sorry, but I have to stop you over here. So when you said
Shehzad
that,
is not convinced today. No, he's not. He's not.
There's a reason. Now imagine, because just last night this has happened to me as well, and you said that everybody knows themselves. I do not know. I do not know about my hunger, how hungry I am, how much I need to eat, my portion control, I'm really bad at it. And usually somebody at my place has to tell me Shahzad, you need to stop. You know, because imagine, so just yesterday I invited a couple of my friends over for dinner. So we had dinner somewhere around 9:30 or 10. You know, there was minced meat, there was dal, there was biryani, alhamdulillah, shukr alhamdulillah. And then imagine, so we sat down, we were having gupshup. And around 11:30 we were like, oh, let's go, let's have Nando's. You know?
Really?
Yeah, obviously it did happen because I was doing portion control. And then I was like, okay, I feel hungry, I need to eat something, but it needs to be healthier. So I was like, okay, let's go, let's have something.
You know, small snackings can actually help you out. Having a roasted grams, or having a handful of nuts, or having some kind of salad, or having fruit salad or fruit, this actually, you know, controls your hunger and the intensity of your hunger
and
too.
the cravings that you
Yes,
have midnight.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Late
I
at
always
night.
get them. I don't know why, but you know, lately I'm trying to kind of suppress them and sleep, but नींद ही नहीं आती भूखे पेट.
Don't starve yourself. So don't starve yourself. I always tell my patients, you know, don't starve yourself. It's not going to help you out. So eat proper, eat portion control, add everything to your plate. So you'll be happy, you know, I'm not missing out on something, but at least you know I'm going in the right direction.
So, you know, Acha, another unspoken factor about Eid is that how we indulge in a lot of sweets. You know, we have shahi tukre, savaiya, we have puddings. So we do focus on resisting meat, but then we indulge in this. So how can we have more of healthy desserts? Like, can we include fruits? And please encourage our audience to use fresh fruits.
Wैसे I tell you, we have a very traditional lunch at my parents' house. So what we do, I always make this one bowl of yogurt and fruit, and trust me, Shahzad, that's the first thing which gets finished in the dessert option. So because the fruits are there, the fruit is there, the yogurt is there, the dry fruit is there, it's a very healthy combination. Meethe ka meetha and healthy ka healthy.
But it's probably because, you know, they have a consultant nutritionist, you know, just roaming around in the house and, you know, telling them, hey, you know what, you guys need to eat food first. And everybody's like, being careful around not eating.
Trust me, there are many Shahzad in my house also. It's like Eid hai.
I think that's great. But, you know, because you mentioned that, you know, how it's a sweet affair on Eid, you know, so might be Choti Eid or Badi Eid. So let's first of all name all the desserts, you know, so let's recall. So I can recall Shahi Tukde, I can recall Sevia, Savaiya,
Sheer Khurma,
or Sheer Khurma, or Rasmalai,
custard, fruit custard,
puddings, cakes. Obviously, a lot of cakes come in.
Pastries,
Pastries, brownies, modern family. Yes.
I am on the right. I am in the wrong time, the wrong place.
No, there's a reason why I'm asking you this. Now I've seen how, you know, there are so many startups which are coming up with such amazing recipes that all of these things you can still consume but are sugar free.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the kind of sugar they use is a low glycemic index sugar, जिसको आप शक्कर कहते हैं, or you tell them to use it. That's a better way of making it. Yeah, absolutely, you're right. At least we know what we are consuming.
Exactly.
We can also use dates and honey in moderation in our desserts.
Yes.
I'm a nutritionist now.
But, you know, I certainly, you know, I think I've always wished to be born in a house where, you know, brownies were made, cookies were made, you know, such modern desserts were made. And, you know, there's this restaurant, I don't know, believe you me, I'm sorry that we're talking about food too much, but there's this restaurant with the name of Ruby's. You know, they serve the best ever chocolate dessert, and their chocolate is imported. And I don't know where, it's Belgian chocolate.
Have you tried the quinoa feta salad? Sorry, we just discussing. So
the promotion is happening.
See, you know, so that's what I was trying to figure out. But it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think what we do need is, because for the longest period of time I've been going to the gym and I wasn't the guy who was actually controlling his diet. Because I was like, okay, I will work out and I'll burn the extra calories, but it didn't really happen. So one way or the other, you will have to diet. You will have to come into calorie deficit. But why is, you know, consuming so much protein dangerous? I think that's something that we need to talk about, because you know, for the 3-4, in fact, you know, I have actually met people who say कि अगर आप सारा गोश्त भी रख लें तो कोई मसला नहीं होता. You know, so, you know, I have come across these thoughts. So please, everybody, please make sure that you stay true to the spirit of, you know, Bakra Eid. Make sure that you do not keep all the meat for yourself.
And plan for next 1 year.
Exactly.
So basically, the protein in there, two kinds of proteins, right? There's a plant protein and there's an animal protein. So animal protein we generally recommend from the mutton, the fish, chicken, and beef, and, you know, egg and yogurt, milk. and the plant protein is from all the lentils, beans and all that. So going for the plant protein is a better choice until or unless you don't have elevated uric acid levels or you do not have any kidney issues like chronic kidney issues or something like that. Your creatine levels are creatine levels are high or something. So the animal proteins are, then that's the case when we control animal proteins, and we encourage patients to have plant proteins. At the same time, if the uric acids are high, then we also control the lentils and beans also. So it's a very you're so right. People who do not realize that eating proteins can lead to all these problems which I have just mentioned. So uric acid can be raised, your kidney functions can be altered. So you have to be really careful.
Exactly, and not just that. I think the people who actually are on a high protein diet, their liver is being affected too.
Absolutely.
So everybody needs to keep a check. Then the triglycerides, and then the good cholesterol and bad cholesterol.
Right.
That's where I would want you to draw the line. How does it impact or has an impact on our cholesterol?
So the liver is the first organ where fat gets deposited, right? Because there's a gluconeogenesis going on. There's all sugar breakdown, fat breakdown. Once you've gained a lot of weight, you're in the level of overweight or being obese, then your liver is definitely, and I get to see it every day, Shahzad. Fatty liver in young kids, young boys, young girls, grade 1, grade 2, that's something alarming. And once your liver is fatty, you are more prone to become diabetic as well. And since diabetes is on rise in Pakistan, every fourth person is diabetic. So it's a vicious cycle. The liver, the diabetes, the hypertension, everything is linked to one and each other. And the basic thing you have to control is your diet.
Exactly.
If you're not, sorry,
And adding on to that,
very sorry, because we're talking about fatty liver over here, and if you're not going to treat fatty liver, unfortunately it can lead towards liver cirrhosis.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
the only drink that can help you with fatty liver is black coffee without milk and sugar.
wow,
Yes,
you
it
have
does.
given us the solution to it.
But
as
like,
well.
ek do cup, because it happened to me. So I went to the doctor post-surgery because I was eating, I was lying down, and I was like, can you please look at my liver? She started from here, ended somewhere here. I was like, how come liver is so
How
big?
big it is.
She's like, oh, because you've got a fatty liver. I was like, what do you mean by fatty liver? I was like, how many people do have fatty liver in Pakistan? She's like, almost 70 to 80% population. I was like, what do I need to do? She was like, please control your diet. And so I started controlling my diet, and I started to have actually black coffee. So as soon as I started to have black coffee, I was having 5 to 6 days of black coffee every day. And then I went to the doctor, so my gamma GT came down, but all the other figures went somewhere else.
Oh, no.
So he was like, how much black coffee are you drinking every day?
Yes.
I was like, 5-6 cups. He's like, you're only supposed to have 1 or 2 cups a day.
Absolutely. This is what I was about to say, that go slow on the coffee as well. Pata chale, people told me, Shahzad said we're going to have a liver, reversible fatty liver, we can have coffee as well.
Only 1 or 2 cups. Please go ahead.
And adding on to this, we want to highlight the fact of how fiber is important in our diets. I read an article that said people across the globe are not dying because of lack of protein in their diet, but it is the lack of fiber in their diet.
Absolutely.
So please highlight for our audience why is salad essential this eat.
Salad and the fiber, because the fiber, as he mentioned about the lipid profile. Whenever your lipid profile is altered, the triglycerides, the cholesterol and the HDL, the LDL, what you need to do, you need to take high fiber. Fiber, again, you can have not only from the fruits and vegetables, you can also have, that's why we support chakki ka atta, the more refined the thing is, it's more dangerous for you. If you take complex carbohydrates like chakki ka atta, you take brown rice, and take fruits and vegetables with the peel. Mostly what we do, simplest example is we take off the peel of apple as well, right? I've seen people taking off the peel of plum, apricot. Like then what are you consuming? What is left there in the
Where is the
fruit?
fiber?
Yes. So fiber can be taken in the form of seeds also, flax seeds, you can have chia seeds, and you can have ispargol. These are all things, these are small dietary tips which you can add to your daily routine, and you can actually control your lipid profile.
I think that's wonderful. So, we're hoping for a great Bakra Eid ahead as well. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Saiba, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. But before I leave, Bakra le liya aapne?
गाय ले ली
गाय ले ली माशाल्लाह क्या बात है अल्लाह मुबारक करे
आमीन
उसमें कोई गदा हिस्सा है बच गया माशाल्लाह क्या बात है I think for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Bakra Eid season soon. We'll be bringing you some amazing Eid programs as well. But for everybody who's out there, please make sure that you write to us, ladies and gentlemen. To write to us, the email is worldthismorning@ptworld.com.pk. Until next time, look after yourselves. Make sure that you eat healthy, stay wise, and do whatever you feel like doing. Enjoy life. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day. Bye. Allah Hafiz.